So, the translations are out for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 362, and let me just say that what we get in this chapter is so impactful and so saddening. It is punctuated with a very impactful moment, and all I can really say is that it's a really sad day for Rain. Let's get into it, but first, right after this. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Drew, and I'm here to do my review of My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 362, titled Light Fades to Rain. And yeah, that is a very ominous title for this chapter because something impactful happens in this chapter, and I'm not going to spoil it until we get to that point, but potentially someone major dies in this chapter. Is it Bakugo? Is it Fat Gum? Is it Tamaki? Is it Mirio? Is it Nejire? It's not Fat Gum, he's not even in this chapter. Actually, he is, just in a flashback, but someone dies in this chapter, and if I didn't put it in the spoiler of this thumbnail, or the thumbnail as a spoiler, yeah, it's a very impactful character. So let's dive right into the review and see what happens. So the chapter pretty much begins with some character development for Tamaki, him coming to a realization of him being a downer when everyone else was trying to lift him up, and that he was kind of being sort of selfish as he's literally about to fire off his cannon right in front of Shigaraki's face, and he fires it off. He calls it his, at least in this translation, cornucopia combination plasma cannon, as he apparently sticks his other arm into it and fires off a cannon as he's like pretty much carrying all the weight of his friends from Fat Gum, Tetsu, Mirio, Kirishima in his heart as he fires off this attack, thinking that if this attack doesn't defeat Shigaraki, then it's all over. Spoilers alert, it doesn't defeat Shigaraki in this chapter, but it looks cool. We see the blast is tearing through Shigaraki's arms. He's trying to get away. Mirio knocks him back into the blast as we literally have a double page spread where we get one panel of the blast stretching over the entire city. As Shigaraki is revealed that, oh, are you crazy? Do you think that attack could have defeated Prime All Might? No. As we see that he does seem to be damaged, but he is still alive and kicking, unfortunately. But this leads to probably one of the best moments in My Hero Academia, because as Shigaraki is chastising the heroes, as we cut over to Bakugo standing back up, approaching Shigaraki, declaring that this is still a battle that they need to win, right, Izuku, as he's trying to approach Shigaraki as best Genis is trying to stop him. We probably get one of the best moments in this series of Bakugo literally in an instant attacking Shigaraki without anyone noticing, dodging Shigaraki's attack and landing blow after blow on Shigaraki, to the point where Shigaraki is trying to understand what is going on in this situation, and it's explained to us, and this explanation is very telling for what's going to be happening in this chapter. Because first of all, I think it's weird that this may be the first time we've got the reveal of Bakugo's quirk being Explosion. I think it was something that we've known for a while, but we get the actual quirk explanation box for Bakugo with quirk Explosion. He can detonate nitroglycerin from the palms of his hands. But we learned that Cluster Bomb actually has a side effect that Bakugo wasn't aware of, and that even though it causes him to accumulate spheres of sweat in the palm of his hands, that there's only so much that his palms can handle, so the spheres have to find other ways to be released, which means that they are going through his body and causing explosions throughout his body that allows him to increase his speed. And that there is a great parallel to what is happening to Bakugo's body in this moment, and comparing it to how Izuku has been using his power. Because his power, in a way, because of One for All, is exploding out of his body, and that he was training to be able to master it in that state. And Bakugo even brings up in this moment that this is something that you were doing, Izuku. Does this mean that I'll be able to reach you someday? And here's where things get a little bit more complicated, as you literally have Shigaraki coming to a realization of, why am I so angry? Why am I losing my cool against some run-of-the-mill hero who doesn't even possess One for All? We see that Shigaraki is getting scared at this moment as he tells Bakugo to die now, as we cut over to what appears to be a vestige world of One for All in the vestige of All Might talking to Bakugo, as Bakugo is revealing something that we didn't know, that after everything that has happened, after everything that has come to be in the story, that the one thing that he wanted to do is get All Might to sign his All Might card, and that may be his sort of kind of only regret, as we see a panel of Bakugo's heart exploding. Not fully, but it seems to be that a hole is opening up at one part of his heart, as we cut over to a page of seeing Shigaraki apparently punching Bakugo in the chest as everyone is trying to save him and attack Shigaraki. And as Shigaraki is thrown back, we get a weather report about how there are multiple volunteers that apparently notice that there are just clouds appearing over certain regions of Japan, and that they appears to be that this change is occurring because of an increase in temperature, and that this is going to lead to rain occurring. And remember how I said that this is going to be a sad day for rain, even though it wasn't raining in this battle? Well, there's a reason for it. Because as Shigaraki gets thrown back by the force of the attacks, he begins to monologue saying like, oh, you really thought that this was going to be different? My body is literally perfected. This is the beginning of our story. As you cut over to Bakugo's parents saying, oh, that boy hates rain, as Best Genius is holding Bakugo and saying his heart. As we get the final page of this chapter, which is just a double page spread of Bakugo on the ground, All Might card sitting next to him, blood squirting from his mouth with a alleged hole in the chest. The idea is that Bakugo has died in this battle. Now, I know what you may be thinking. There's no way that Horikoshi just killed Bakugo. He's literally the most popular character in the entire series. There's no way that Bakugo died in this chapter. His heart exploded. And unless Horikoshi wants to pull something with, oh, his heart didn't actually explode, which is still a possibility, it's very unclear on what exactly happened with his heart. But with the context of what we got in this chapter, it's not like there's like a small hole in his heart. No, it seems as if part of his heart is just literally open. Because if you didn't know this, now this may be a shock to you, the heart is very important to keep the body alive. And if you don't have a pumping heart, you're not going to be alive soon. So unless the idea is that his heart isn't actually stopped, because we don't get confirmation of it in this chapter, just that his heart and something wrong is going with his heart, it is still possible that he is still alive. But the context of this chapter is implying that he is very, very much dead, or is about to die. So Horikoshi killed off Bakugo. This is going to shake the My Hero Academia fandom to its core, for better or for worse. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have for the actual chapter. This is a very impactful chapter because we potentially have the major death of a very major character, or a very prominent character in the stories, via Bakugo. And it seems as if we are definitively setting up that Bakugo is dying, from Shigaraki literally telling Bakugo to die, to literally having him actually attack an area that looks very much closely to be near Bakugo's chest than any other attack in the series, to literally having Shigaraki declare that this is the case, to literally having possibly Bakugo's last moments in this chapter talking about a regret that he had in a multiple page spread, and then having that spread being punctuated with a card that he has in his hand literally laying right next to him. Yeah, it's hard to dispute that Bakugo isn't dead in this chapter, and that's not the most thing or the everything that we had in this chapter. We also have more character development with Tamaki, and that was cool, but that pretty much is going to be overshadowed by what we see with Bakugo in this chapter, because not only do we get an explanation of how Cluster works and that it works very similar to Deku, but we get to see Bakugo actually putting in a lot of work, doing damage on Shigaraki, even if it means that he dies at the end of it. So If anything, I think this may be a great hurrah for Bakugo's character coming to an end, because he kind of begins to accept and understand what Deku has been going through, because he's putting his own body through it. He's actively being a hero and going up against the big bad, even putting literal fear inside of Shigaraki with how powerful and how devastating he is, and just seeing his last moments potentially in this chapter as we literally get his heart potentially exploding, just all leads to the fact that Bakugo may be dead. And it's sad to think that the first part of this chapter is literally just Tamaki firing off a plasma cannon, and that it did significantly less damage than what Bakugo did in an injured state. So yeah, this was amazing. I cannot lie. This was an amazing chapter, and I love it. And unfortunately, I believe My Hero Academia and the rest of Shonen Jump is going to be going on break, so Horikoshi left us with this massive cliffhanger, and it's not even confirmed that Bakugo is dead, so we're probably going to get that confirmation in the next chapter. And oh gosh, just imagine how Deku's face will look when he literally sees this. Actually, we don't have to imagine it, because we've seen multiple times in the series how Deku is going to look when he realizes that Bakugo is dead. So, woo! That's all I really have to say about this chapter. Hopefully you enjoyed the chapter. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. And do you think that Bakugo is dead? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz. And hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye. Rest in peace, Bakugo.